Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Defense. So I think it's a
Joe Mazzola at the podium, guys. Sorry
saying,
we're late. We're gonna listen in real quick.
Two-game losing streak. Take a look at game one. It was our offense. This game, it was our defensive execution. So I don't see that correlation, but we definitely have to be better, both ends of the floor.
Okay, but the shooting has been better before this recent stretch, right?
Yeah.
So
I would say last game our offense let us down significantly.
Would you say maybe the offense to start the season maybe hid some of the things that you've been kind of dealing with defensively, I should say?
No, I don't think so. No. Like I said, Bobby said our numbers are about the same last year. So over the 30 games, I like where we're at. But I'll continue to say it. We have to be better.
Joe, what's the balance with like playing the numbers with Caleb and wanting him to maybe shoot those shots? Obviously, he banks the one in. But then also maybe adjusting and saying, all right, you've seen him do this before in this place, and how you're guarding him.
Well, it's great. I like that you asked that question because to answer Gary's question, who do you help off of? He made big-time shots, but if you want to slow Maxey and Embiid down, you have to bring the game to someone. You have to have good shift activity. I mean, I can't really shoot. Out of the 9 threes he shot, I'll go back and look and see which ones were heavily contested. But that's the catch-22 is to what good teams who are shooting the ball well, they put you in a tough spot. And that's why it's important to take away the tendencies on a guy's right-hand drive, take away the transition, don't turn the ball over, get good shots. So when you're in the situation where you're not taking care of some of those details, it doesn't make up for the margin for error. And, he made shots. So, like I said, I'd go back and look. I know there was one where we slipped and fell on a back cut, and he was wide open on that one. But the other ones I thought were pretty contested.
Joe, you talk about 25-point quarters. Obviously, I mean, they scored 30, then 36, and then you were able to hold them to 16. What did you see different in that third quarter that sort of, and then you guys went back to another 30-point quarter for them in the fourth. What was different in that one that you saw?
We kept them out of transition. We kept it 5-on-5. We were relatively physical. Kept them off the free throw line. Just the simple things that go into, having a great defensive quarter.
Thank you, Joe.
Good, thanks.
Wah, wah. Wait,
Wah, wah.
you can hear me, right?
I can hear you, and I'm happy to welcome Louise back to the show. Louise, you've been absent a little bit, and don't think I haven't noticed because I have.
She was here on.
Okay, I've been absent.
I don't even know what day it is.
I've been absent, but I don't think you guys have noticed. But Jimmy Toscano's here. I'm here. It's Christmas, and
It's Christmas. I'm at home. I got the paper towels in the background like the old days.
it's Christmas. It's Christmas time. I'm not in a festive mood, Jimmy. I'm not. You know me.
Trying to ruin Christmas. I'm not going to let it happen. But
Are we drinking?
Currently, no. I got a ginger ale. I earlier today? I had a couple. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna drink a little.
I can go run upstairs and.
It's all right. I think. Yeah, a little
Probably
whiskey.
Need that for me, but
Smooth you out. Look, you know me. You've been mad. You've been mad at me.
I've been mad at you.
I mean, you've been annoyed that I haven't gotten angrier.
Yeah.
At yeah, that I'm keeping my emotions in check. I'm not overreacting and not raging. You know what makes me mad, Jimmy? Not what the Celtics do, but the excuses people make for the Celtics when they do those things. And I've been one of the people making those excuses. I'm starting to get a little tired of, I don't care if it's like one-offs and you can excuse it, but I do care when you just say it'll work itself out. When you see things that aren't going well and haven't been going well for a bit of time and just think it's just going to work out. Because right now, I definitely think we're not in full-blown panic mode, but we're in a should we be worried mode. Like, we're there, right? Like, we're there. We're at the point where
dude.
it's like my thought is always like when the Celtics play their best game, it's better than everybody else's. One, I don't know that that's certain right now. And two, I just think they're not hitting that level that often for a while now, where they're just playing dynamite start to finish basketball. I mean, Jaylen Brown, great. He had a great third quarter. He was asleep in the first half, asleep. Tatum, for long stretches in this game, just dead asleep. Derek White, on and off, brutal all game. Guys you count on. I'm not picking on one guy. Pritchard was brutal. Derek White, late.
Porzingis, once he rolled his ankle, he was going at half speed. Can't blame him, but I mean, another guy.
So yeah, so I'm now officially annoyed at, I don't know what's going on there, but like there's dips and declines. Yeah, Tatum, 33 points, dead asleep. Tatum was ass for huge periods of this game. We always look at the box scores. Yeah, you want me to go OG, I'll go OG. Stop looking at the box score. Brown, at the end of the day, he got his points. He had a big third quarter. Tatum got his points. He got hot from three at times. But just these huge periods, huge stretches of just, like I don't want to be here, and just not working for it, standing around on defense, complaining nonstop. There's just a lot of that. There was a lot of that today. This was a hard game to watch. If you're a fan of the Celtics, this was a hard team to watch and to like watching today.
Yeah, other than like the cool green and red, like Christmas.
I love the red.
Christmassy like uniform thing going on with the Celtics. I didn't like one single thing. And if you went to the Celtics game today, you better do something quick to save Christmas, because that was not enjoyable. They did their best to put a damper on things today. I'm not gonna let them do it. Hopefully everybody had a chance to spend some time with friends and family today. If not, maybe tomorrow or whatever this week. But I'll tell you what, from the very start to this game, something was off. The Celtics were, I think, lackluster is the word that comes to mind on both ends of the court. Just, again, pretty similar to what we've seen on offense recently. A lot of three-pointers, not much inside. Defensively, Philly was pretty much doing whatever they wanted. Maxey was all over the place in that first quarter, completely like set the tone for the Sixers early on. They weren't really getting much of anything from any of their other players except Maxey. And then the Celtics killer, Caleb Martin, who was he, 7 of 9 from three tonight? He had big shot after big shot from them. They let Embiid do more than what I really wanted to see Embiid do. I mean, Embiid, to me, is getting softer and softer as the years go, but they just let him do too much tonight. I was very disappointed. Jaylen Brown, you already talked about it, non-existent in the first half. Looked like he was playing in quicksand. He could barely move out there.
Yeah.
You kind of went down the line. Everybody but Al Horford really is on my naughty list today, John, in the spirit of Christmas. Al Horford makes the nice list, but not an enjoyable game. I'll tell you what, I got up a few times and just kind of like, like at the holidays, like this, like family and people, I just got up and like roamed around and just kind of like poked around. I just like, I can't watch to get up.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, I had a good Christmas. I had a great, but nothing like crazy, but Santa came and it was good.
Yeah. I had an awesome Christmas.
It's still going on. I got, I feel bad wasting my time talking about this awful performance. I could have had a better Christmas this today, John. I think you can agree. We could have had a better Christmas if we didn't have to watch the Celtics.
Yeah.
And you know what, John? To your point, I think we're at the point where you can start to be annoyed. We're starting to do things on the show that reminds me of the annoying days. Like we played the blame pie last show.
Oh, we're going to blame pie the crap out of this one.
We had by the way, Noah petrified of the blame pie. If you just show her a blame pie, she almost like melts on camera. We played Panic Meter a couple games ago. These are things that we used to do a lot when things were not going the Celtics way. We didn't do it a lot last year because we didn't have to, but now we're starting to do it a little bit more. I think the Celtics are 6-5 in December. They're playing mediocre basketball right now. They're not playing
against mediocre teams too.
Against mediocre to bad teams.
Yeah.
I mean, teams that are banged up, teams that have not been playing well. Again, this Sixers team has not had anywhere near the start of the year they wanted. But when they are all out there in the court, all healthy, all playing like with their lineup, I know that's kind of a crazy concept to Sixers Nation, but they're a lot better than what their record shows. And so this was one of those examples tonight where they just came out, whether it was Maxey, whether it was Martin, whether it was Embiid. They didn't even get anything from Paul George tonight. He stunk. And they were still able to they almost gave it away. They almost gave it away in the fourth. They were still able to build that double-digit lead in the second half there. And they just play with more energy. There's no excuse for it if you're the Boston Celtics. You're at home. It's Christmas. You're coming off a bad loss. Show out. Do
Their
the
last
thing.
win. Their last win against a team that entered competition, I believe this is correct. Their last win against a team that entered the night with a better than 500, not at 500, better than 500 record, exactly 1 month ago against the Clippers.
Wow. And the Clippers are like fake good. They're not even really that good either.
So, right. So yeah, a little annoying, and like it's things.
Hey, when Noah comes on, just be like, and we're gonna play blame
Okay,
pie.
yeah. All right, time for blame pie. Let's bring in Noah.
Oh God, I forgot about the blame pie. We're not even gonna ease into it.
No, all right, you're up. We just went. Dish it out.
Just,
Holiday blame pie coming in.
I'll tell you this before we get into it. We're just messing with you, Noah. Merry Christmas, by the way.
No,
Happy holidays.
Happy Wednesday, Noah.
Happy Wednesday.
I got a Christmas tree, Jimmy. So
One came.
I got a tree
When? Because as of Monday there was no tree.
yesterday.
Wow. Would you get like heavy sale on the tree?
I don't know. My parents got it.
Did you guys decorate it?
Is my audio okay?
Yes, you sound
Did you
great.
decorate it, or is it just a tree?
I'll send a photo.
Okay, yeah, send us a photo.
All right. I'll say
Merry
this.
Christmas then. I can say it then.
As a slight digression, my pie game is kind of like the Celtics overall game right now. I'm searching for it a little bit right now. I've had two consecutive.
What are you searching for?
My pie game.
Oh, really? Not blame pie, like actual pie.
No,
really?
my actual pie game.
Off? Did you just go? You don't just hit him with like the fastball pies that you do?
I tried something different because I wasn't happy with something that happened over Thanksgiving, and I think I went backwards. So I'm searching for it a little bit. I need a little Drew Hanlon. I got to go back to the pie lab to pie
or
school.
you just got to go back to what you like. Just get back in the layup line. You got to hit a couple bunnies. Get back to the apple. Get back to the cherry. Yeah.
I'm taking my own slice of blame pie. Anyway, Noah, let's just get your thoughts on this game. We haven't gone too into specifics other than just to say blah, but just kind of your main takeaway in this one. And we just listened to Joe a little bit. Defense obviously being an issue in this one throughout the game, and I don't know, just kind of your main takeaways for tonight or today.
Lots of takeaways. So first, this is the 76ers team. I know Bobby and I, we've been joking about how Bobby and I picked Philadelphia, or at least I picked Philadelphia as the biggest threat to Boston in the East. And this team today, I feel like you could see the pieces. You can see why they were scary to a lot of people, because even though Paul George didn't really do much, when Tyrese Maxey made the leap that he did, like he was a superstar today. He was, maybe the best player on the floor, one of the best players on the floor for most of the game. And then Embiid is clearly not 100% health, but still he's a powerhouse, right? So my first thought is just this Philadelphia team, if they can figure out a way to stay healthy, I actually do think that they're legit, more so than maybe some of these other teams that we've been talking about. On the Celtics end, it was just a disappointing effort. I don't know that I've said that about any game so far this season, maybe Atlanta, but to come off a loss, to come off a stretch where you lost 3 of 6 games, I was surprised that the effort wasn't more consistent across the board, especially defensively, especially it being Christmas Day on national television with all the buzz around it and all the fan energy and everything. Jaylen Brown, I don't know what was going on in the first half, but that was like an old Jaylen Brown half. Like I haven't seen him play like that in a long time, where just on both ends he just seemed totally out of it. So I don't know. I think it was an effort thing more than anything. And Joe didn't say the word effort, but he did say we've been playing inconsistent basketball, which is as far as he's going to go. So those words to me is like that's Joe going as anti or as critical as he can possibly go.
It's like an on and an off switch, and it just all of a sudden there's just nothing. And then other times just like, well, that was a great play, or like, well, wow, there's Tatum, and then Brown obviously turning it on, flipping that switch in the third quarter there. So you saw it, but yeah, inconsistent effort. I think the play that typifies the entire night, maybe above all else, was that Tyrese Maxey layup where they got smoked on the switch.
That was so bad.
And that to me, and you could see there was a couple that really pissed me off. One of like Caleb Martin. How many times did Caleb Martin catch a ball, stare, look around, say, no one's going to guard me, huh? Toe the line and shoot it. Joe made it sound like the Celtics were like caught in rotation, and nah, they were just falling asleep. There was one time where I think Derek White, this one, that rotation to me, White looked like he wanted to come back down into the paint, and he was pointing to Kata to get out on the shooter, but it was clearly his switch, and he goes down and he's late, and Martin drains a three, and Joe calls a timeout. He was really pissed off. I think he barked something at Derek there is what it looked like to me. So there was a couple of those where it's just like, what are we doing here, guys? It was a lot of like buck passing, like, you do it,
Yeah.
and just falling asleep. But that play, that Maxey play to me was brutal and really just typified the whole night, which is just not focused in the moments where you absolutely needed to the most. I mean, not only did Maxey blow by Pritchard, who fell asleep on that on the roll, but he caught the ball, stumbled, and still got a shot off in 1.1 seconds, which was ridiculous. So I don't know. It's just it was frustrating. It's frustrating. I guess the bigger question rather than like specific game stuff, Noah, and that's kind of I think where people are going to be trying to figure out. At what point is it okay to look at a recent body of work here and say, I don't like it? Not just 3 of 4 losses, because I think overreacting to a small stretch of results is a little bit, reactionary, but maybe taking a step back and a snapshot and looking at a few things. They're not defending consistently at an elite level. Doesn't mean they can't. They're not shooting consistently at an elite level. They're getting the shots up, but overall they're not shooting as they were. You're seeing, cracks in the armor you didn't see last year. Some of it to do with health, some of it due to maybe some players maybe look a little older than they looked last year, or just not as able to do some of the same things. And when you add it all together, you have maybe not quite as invincible as last year, and maybe not as invincible as we thought they would be entering this year, or even at times during the season.
I think it's fair to have those thoughts right now at this point. It's it's not 1 or 2 games. It's been it's been maybe a month of that I haven't loved the basketball. Again, I still think these next few weeks, like this Western Conference road trip, is going to answer a lot of questions about this team. But the thing that made last year's team so special, beyond the fact that obviously everything was a good fit and guys had good individual seasons, was that they were so hungry every single night. They were desperate. And you just can't really recreate that emotion in the NBA, because the other team's always going to be hungry too. Like, these are all great teams, right? Even if you're playing the worst team in the league, you're playing talented guys that on any given night can go off. And so I felt like this first half was a perfect example of them not being really desperate, or they weren't playing hungry. They were like, there's plenty of things out there that I can point to from a statistical standpoint. Drew Holiday obviously hasn't been shooting as well as last season. Jaylen Brown, I don't think has been as consistent, mid-range as last year. But the main thing is just night in and night out, it doesn't seem to me like they're playing as hard. And that's probably because they just won a championship. And it's really hard to emulate the embarrassment of the previous season.
Yeah, and Joe, good comment here by Joe, echoing what you're saying, is that's what it comes down to. Are we seeing them slipping? Maybe in the case of Holiday, maybe there is some, maybe a little bit of regression, but again, you're seeing improvements other places that should make up for any sort of slippage that you're getting. I think the easier thing to point at is consistent effort. And it's never an entire game. It's never the entire team or a player takes a whole game off. It's just stretches. They just kind of pick and choose when and where they want to do it. And it doesn't work that way, because they have to stay connected in order to be successful. And when they're not, you see these sloppy runs, like them just getting run off the court to start the fourth quarter with Embiid on the bench. That can't happen. And that's really where the game got away from them right then and there, where they did make a charge in the third quarter, decided they wanted to play a little bit, and then they're like, so we're good, right? And then that was it. They let the whole game get away from them right there.
And the other thing is, John, is ultimately in this game, they didn't have their 2 acquisitions that made last year's team different than the previous season. Like, KP was not great in the first half, missed the second half again, which I'm sure you will talk about if we haven't yet.
Yeah.
And then Drew Holiday out, which something I don't think is super concerning. But ultimately, like, those 2 guys were so huge to last year's regular season success too, besides for the playoffs. And now we're looking at a team that suddenly doesn't seem like as deep. We're having Luke play critical minutes. We're not seeing guys off the bench step up either.
Yeah, I don't want to be mad on Christmas. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody out there who's joining us on this holiday. It's also first day of Hanukkah out there, so many people might be celebrating holidays, and I honestly do feel blessed that you're here watching. So we don't want to get too off the rails here and get crazy negative about it. And I'll thank you to Jason Tatum for throwing down a little Christmas gift here. Thank you very much.
Thank
Super
you.
chats are shared by the host, and we do appreciate it. And thank you all, as I said again, for tuning in. Let's talk KP a little bit, because I think you want to talk, panic. Where are we on the KP panic meter? I am a little bit worried at this point.
What's your color?
Where
You
am
got
I?
green, yellow, orange, red, maybe.
I don't know. I don't like it at all. I mean, no, we've talked about this multiple times. You're always worried every single time, he steps on the court. It's like you're just watching, like you're on eggshells. But now it's like it's actually happening. Like, it's how I felt with Rob. Every single time Rob was out there, I was like, he's gonna get hurt right now. There it is. Up, he's out. I don't know what to think with KP. I'm almost expecting at this point just to see him pull up lame and hobble, and then either try to gut it out and play through the game or not. It's happened. What? He's played 11 games. He's pulled up lame in like 4 of them. 3 of them he exited and 1 he continued playing. I mean, that's a ridiculous percentage.
Am I picking a color here?
I'm just saying where are you
it's
now?
Not. I have no.
She doesn't panic.
No, it's not true. If people that know me in real life would be like, "What are you talking about?" But I think this particular injury, no, not concerned about. The fact that he can't seem to stay healthy for multiple games in a row, very concerned about, because ultimately we haven't seen him. We saw him miss the entire playoffs last season. Come
Who
back.
put green
like 2
glasses
games.
on you? That's not cool.
I think it was Amit. So yeah, I am concerned about his just ability to stay on the floor. You kind of have to be. I mean, he hasn't shown. I think last season during the regular season was the most healthy that we've seen him on this team. And even then, he missed games here and there. But since the beginning of last year's playoffs, he hasn't been able to play a consistent stretch of a couple of games of basketball. And so they definitely want to be conservative with him, but it's also tough when it's like every other game he rolls something. You want to just say, like, you got to push through it too. And it seems to always end up being that he can't push through it when they go back and evaluate him. So yeah, I'm concerned.
It's just always something. It's always something. It's not always the same thing. It's not like re-injuring the same thing. It's just like, oh, today he rolled an ankle, just like kind of randomly. Before that, it was, calf, then it's knee, then it's this, but it's, typically lower body. But like every time you start,
I'm orange. I'm Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm orange. Every time you start to feel like he's rounding into form, there's like something that happens. And like, again, that's why you got him in the first place though, right? Because this is one of the things about him that's kind of hindered him throughout his career. And the Celtics have been able to get by with it because they've been so talented around him. If he was your number 1 or number 2 option, then you'd be effed, right? You can't really build a team around him, but he becomes a complementary piece that can really, really take you to the next level when he's out there completely healthy. But when he's not, or when he's 75%, that's when you start to run into some issues. So I'm hopeful that this is just going to be a day-to-day thing. It seems like it will be. I mean, he played on it for, the rest of the half. Obviously, it must have swollen up a little bit at halftime, and they've said, best to ice it and stay off of it. But, could miss the next game or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm hopeful that it's not anything too crazy. But the point I think John's trying to make is the panic is not so much this injury. It's just like, what's next? Like, what's the next thing going to be? When's it going to happen? And is that going to put you in a position where you're looking down your bench at a bunch of players that you don't have any trust in going in the game? Because right now your bench stinks. There's no other real word for it. I mean, John, you're muted, but Pritchard is the only guy that's giving you anything off the bench. And right now he's not giving you anything off I'm saying if Horford's in the starting lineup where he has been most of this year due to injuries, your bench is pretty thin. And now, right now, Pritchard's going through a little bit of a shooting slump. Hauser's been injured. There's nobody after them. I mean, Cornette, give him Cornette some props. He came in, he was serviceable today. 10 boards, did his thing. But again, we said this last year, Cornette is not a guy you really want to see a lot in the playoffs. Same with Cada, right? And same with, we're not even seeing Tillman. And then the other guys are borderline not even in the league. So this is the reality. You're still muted, John.
I was just agreeing with you. For me, it's not, or kind of what, you're both saying here. It's not panic as much as it is resignation. Like, this might be what it is. And I think that was the fear when you brought in a guy like Porzingis, was exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
What if he's not there when you need him? What if he goes down?
Exceeded expectations last year.
Yeah, he did, but then he actually fulfilled them.
Then he came back down. Yeah, with the games played.
Sure.
Yeah,
and you ended up being able to overcome it. I think the way that they're playing overall, I think it would be a little bit too limiting if you're not able to get him back. To agree with what everyone else is saying, nothing really matters if it really all comes down to who's healthy in April. It's just based on what we're seeing with Porzingis. It's just start and stop. So we'll see what it is. Joe Mazzulla, we heard earlier, questioning the team and their consistency, kind of a little bit of a jab, as Noah said, on the effort. We've got some sound from the locker room in response to what Joe said. Before we get to that and hear from Al Horford, we will let you know about a couple of our sponsors here, beginning with Prize Picks. And if you haven't gotten in on the Prize Picks action, you should. It's the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy accessible to all. Pick more, pick less. At least 2 players. A shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Is that a typo, Jimmy? No. 1,000. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy app and the official partner of the CLNS Media Network. And I love sitting down. I like playing. I like getting into the action. Yeah, I'm a little bit kind of in my football vibe right now. You want to see my picks, Jimmy?
I lost today. I made picks as well.
Here's my selections right now.
I joined Picksmas today.
For the up game. And yeah, you can join Picksmas. I'm just looking ahead to Sunday. I like Drake. I like Antonio Gibson because Ramondre Stevenson is not touching the
Gibson, dude.
This is a referendum on Ramondre. He is not touching the ball. I like JSN because he's on every fantasy team I have, and he's just going to keep riding it. I'm also going 0.5 TDs. Yep. Sign me up for Drake. I like that right there. If you want to sign up and get in on the action, all you have to do is you see it down here on the bottom of the screen. Pick more, pick less. That's it. Play 5, get 50 instantly. Sorry, use the promo code CLNS. Play 5, get 50 instantly. You don't even have to win. Pick more, pick less. That's easy. Run your game on Prize Picks. Also, Jimmy, did you have something?
I did Picksmas today, which is what they're calling it. And you get the free square of Jokic. All he's got to do is score a point. I just picked so many bad picks today where that might be the only one I get right. and now I'm not sure Jokic might actually. I feel bad for Nuggets fans. He may goose egg today just because I picked him. That's how bad my picks were.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get to more on that later. We did mention the inconsistency here being a major issue in this game. And again, inconsistency is a nice way of Joe Mazzulla saying we didn't try, we didn't play hard. And Al Horford was told what Joe Mazzulla said in his postgame press conference, and here I believe is Al responding to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair criticism from him, and I just think that we have to really dive into our work a little more and understand that that we can relax during periods of the game no matter the circumstance. So we have to make sure that we're a little better.
Okay.
All right. It's pretty cut and dry there.
That's what he said.
Noah's going to check out the rest of the press conferences, and she'll be back.
Noah's checking out more stuff. Yep, and we're here.
Checking out more stuff, and this is us now, 2-man game. Yeah, I mean, Horford reacting to, a pretty black and white statement that, it doesn't really require much. It is what it is. Anybody who watched the game saw the inconsistency. That's putting it nicely. Inconsistent effort. The problem with that is it's not very inconsistent. It's kind of consistently bad now, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing.
It's consistently inconsistent. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Consistently inconsistent. And the good news is it's not based on talent. These guys, we know what they're all capable of. We've seen it. We know when they're playing connected basketball that they're the best team in the NBA. The bad news is, can you get them, or I guess the question is, can you get them to tap back into that? Are we going through the winter doldrums of the season here? A team that already knows that how good they are, what they kind of need to do to win, and it's like they already know that they can kind of get through these games, and once the playoffs come around, that's really all that matters. So I don't know how much of it is them just choosing not to play that way or them just not being able to play that way. And I feel like it's more choosing not to play that way, and I'm hopeful that at some point they will play a full 48 minutes of basketball and not be forced to try to make these, dramatic comebacks in the end of the game.
This is why it's hard to repeat, right? Like anytime you've done something at a certain level, I use this analogy, and I don't know if it's exactly apt, but like, I don't know if you like to, if you play cards or go to casinos or anything like that, but like, you grow, you're playing nickel dime poker with your buddies, and it's fun, and you do it, and that's just what you do. And then you go to the casino, and all of a sudden you're throwing down big bucks, and you're betting 50 and 100 and 150 a hand. It's really hard to go back and play nickel and dime poker and feel anything, and get a sense that it matters. Like I get why teams have a difficult time repeating. You've played on the biggest stage, you put it all out there, you needed maximum effort and concentration just to get to that point and then to win it. And then once you do, there's this great catharsis, and you did it, especially the Celtics, who'd been on the cusp and chasing it recently. But really, you're going to the conference finals or the finals every year. It's really hard to get up for games. And now that you finally won one, I get it. And that's why I'm always fine to excuse a thing or two. Bottom line is things just generally don't look as good this year. That's the overall concern. Is it happens. Like, I mean, look at like the conversation around the Denver Nuggets in a year. They went from the champs to the Celtics will beat anybody but Denver if they play them, to just because they had a one bad quarter against Minnesota, because they win that series and they beat Dallas, and then they go to the finals against the Celtics, and who knows what there, and who knows what they do against Boston. And the Celtics might still win that. They could have gone back to back, but people killed them for a bad fourth quarter in the conference semis. And they're done. They're washed. And they found a million reasons why, but they were dragging ass at the end of last year. They really were. They were limping down the stretch. They didn't look like the same team either, and they didn't have that same level of focus. You were seeing results all over the place. You're like, they lost this game to that team, and everybody played. There was a lot of that, and so that's why it's hard. And they're a team that is one of those teams that does a lot of things the right way and plays basketball the right way. And their coach was killing them for inconsistent effort. And he still is. It's really hard to maintain that level of focus. That's why it's so hard to repeat. I'm not saying anything people don't know, but I think that's why that's the challenge. It's just tough to do it.
Yeah, and I think they were tired and worn out by the end of last season too, after playing as hard as they did the year prior. It's very, very difficult to win. It's even that much harder to win twice, and there's going to be some tough, young, energetic, athletic teams that the Celtics are going to have to play in the playoffs, and they're going to have to match that, at the very least match that. And the way they're playing right now, they are not going to be able to match that. I mean, they got bullied against the Magic. They got out hustled, or whatever you want to call it, by the Bulls, two teams that they should have beaten, two undermanned teams. And then tonight they came out of the gates and they didn't match the energy and the effort from the opposing team. Again, the Sixers. A home court game on Christmas. I mean, there's really no excuse. I don't know how you have to really dig that deep, but whether it was Jaylen Brown kind of, sluggish out of the gates, whether it was Pritchard, I mean, even Pritchard just looked off, passing up shots even too. So I don't know what's going on with there, but Horford's really the only guy that came out ready to go, which you expect against the Sixers. He always does. But you just weren't getting anything from the other guys. And yeah, They missed Porzingis and they missed Holiday, two guys that Noah pointed out drastically changed the makeup of this team last year. And maybe they fall back into some bad habits when those faces and those types of players, Holiday especially, a guy who just always plays the right way. He's not hitting shots the way he was last year, but he still plays the game the right way. Other than that one wild one where he had like 25 field goal attempts, he's still a guy that you can depend on, certainly on the defensive end. And he typically is going to make the right decision on the offensive side of things too. And so not having him out there today, you saw what Maxey was able to do today. Not having a guy like Holiday out there, Maxey did whatever he wanted. So that was a big loss. So I don't think anyone's worried about Holiday, little shoulder thing. And again, maybe they thought they could get by, but he's a guy that's had a long, coming to this team last year, playing the way he did, expanded roles, big in the playoffs, going to Team USA. Now he's kind of, I don't know if he's a little tired or what it is, but he's not really the same guy. But he's a guy they're gonna need to lean on at some point.
Yeah, addressing a couple of comments here. I don't disagree on the Olympic thing. I it's almost like you kind of hope your guys don't make the Olympics because you want them to have a clean summer where they can just chill. Because again, you play in the finals, you go deep into June, and by the time you decompress and pull it all together, and that was a long road for multiple guys. You've got 3 guys playing in the Olympics and 1 guy having surgery. 4 out of your top 6 players are kind of not able to just kind of have a normal off season. And that's that. Another comment in here talking about they'll be fine, they just need a blank. In this case it was wing. Just this isn't a news flash, but there's no help coming. This is it. This is what you've got. And again, this is why there's a little bit of concern. This is why we went a little bit over the top, not over the top, but this is why we made an issue of Hauser's injuries and what he's dealing with right now. They have no wing depth. They're not going to get wing depth. They're not going to go get anything. They're not getting anything. They're not in a position to make trades. They're not in a position to get into the buyout market. They can't really bring in anybody of value. They can't, anybody making more than mid-level money who gets let go or bought out, they can't bring them on. There's no help coming here, short of the Lonnie Walker miracle that we're all hoping for at some point. That's the best caliber player that you're going to be able to get in this door. It's him or like O'Shea Brissett. That's not fixing things for you. So I wouldn't be looking elsewhere. This is all going to be internal, but that's why you look at these teeny little things that are happening. Shots aren't falling quite as well. Holiday doesn't look as good. Hauser's hurt all the time, and you have no wing depth behind him. You really needed him and his minutes last year. You put Jordan Walsh out there for a minute today, and then you sat his ass down. You're going consistently double big now with Cornette to fill because he's your only reliable bench guy outside of Pritchard, when you have Hauser out as well. You've got problems. And now you've got Porzingis in and out with injuries. Add that to, overall, not great, not a great shooting season overall from Jaylen Brown, inconsistent. There's enough things happening right now where you add them all together and it's like, it's less. It's not panic, but it's definitely less. It's definitely less. And there's no help on the way. That's it.
That's it. But you know what? They need to help themselves. They have what it takes. And again, they probably know that, and that's probably why they're just.
And I agree with this. Walsh is unplayable against good teams. Well, Walsh helps you.
He's just a guy that runs around.
He does cardio. Walsh helps you in load management games against bad teams. That's it. It's a body. It's a body. It's Drew Peterson. It's a guy you throw out there.
Yeah.
And you're good enough everywhere else to be able to withstand it. You cannot count on anybody else here. That's it.
That's it. They need their own guys to come back. They need their guys to stay healthy because that's the best thing that can happen for them. And they haven't really been fully healthy this year, like 1 through 8, because Porzingis missed so much time beginning. And now they've got guys that are kind of in and out here right now. I'm not really sure how serious any of these things are, but you had White on and off the injury report. You got Holiday on and off. You got Hauser on and off. Tatum's sick, so that's nothing really to be concerned about. Brown, whatever. But Inconsistent. That's the word of the day.
Yeah.
That's the word of the day, and that's what you saw today.
Yep.
So, and also you give a Sixers team that you really could have just if they could have really just broke their spirits today, just beat the hell out of them, make them the laughing stock of the league on Christmas, but complete opposite. You give a Sixers team a reason to say, hey, maybe we should feel the full lineup. Maybe we should all play a little bit more. We can actually be a decent team. We can actually give these guys a run. We just need to get out there on the court. When they do that, they're a lot better than what their record shows. And so, again, who knows? I mean, we're complaining about the Celtics players in and out of lineup, but nobody can complain more than the Sixers. But they might be the extreme example of this, John, just trying to get to the playoffs. Now, I don't think it's going to work out for him because I do think you need to have some continuity, and you do need to be able to play extended time and majority of the games together to really get a feel for what you've got. So I don't know if that strategy is going to work for the Sixers, but on a night like tonight, it was enough. And so
it was enough. We are waiting for guys to join the show, but they might not because they're waiting for people to speak at the podium. And totally cool for the Celtics to just drag out the podium on Christmas with every hack reporter in there who wants to get home and have a friggin' cold piece of prime rib. Pretty cool, guys. Get to the podium, talk, and let everybody go home.
I can't do an hour and a half in this game. I can tell you that. I won't be doing that.
Yeah, but I'll start. I'm going to start ranting about my media gripes if it goes on longer than that, because that always drives me insane.
I know.
Let them go.
I imagine the players want to go, right?
Let's go, man. Let my people go. Let them go.
Yeah,
get them out of there.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, I want to get to some lighthearted Christmas talk with the kids. Because like Bobby and Noah, they're still kids. They got up. They got excited to see Santa today. I want to hear.
Yeah, they were up early, and all the gifts were open by 6 a.m. I'm sure.
Yeah, these guys, come on.
Although, John, this isn't going to shock you. Noah did say on Monday that they don't celebrate Christmas in her house.
That's okay.
Similar to not celebrating Halloween, I think. But she said once in a while they'll just end up with a Christmas tree.
Throw down. That's cool.
Like this year, it sounds like they did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what was under the tree, but
yeah.
Anyway,
I'll ask you, Jimmy.
Did Santa come to your house for your kids, John?
Yeah, I mean, I got kids at a good age, so it's still fun.
Yeah, you do Elf on the Shelf.
We do things. We do those calendars.
Dude, I'm hearing Elf on the Shelf is like if you're a parent that got stuck doing Elf on the Shelf, like it's like the worst thing in the world.
We don't do that.
You got, I guess, yeah. Like you got. I think you're lucky. I think I've talked to some of my friends who they're like, oh my god, like Elf on the Shelf is killing me. Like I can't. My brain won't function, and like I can't put this elf anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know. People at home probably know what I'm talking about, but
yeah, no, I skipped it. I'm trying not to care. Like about that stuff.
If your kids don't bring it up, then don't.
No. But they don't. They didn't. But I got one of my twins. No joke. Legit reacts huge to everything. So she opens something up and just goes, "Oh my god!"
just thinks that's supposed to be the reaction.
Yeah, and then she's like, "What is it?" But it's like, but sometimes she's genuine. She's screaming. So they're pretty psyched right now. We got them a massive tent that they're in right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, go to the tent. Go hang out in the tent.
They're hanging in the tent. It's huge. It's awesome.
Like for outdoors, or it's like an indoor play tent?
Yeah.
What is it? Like what kind of tent are we talking about? Like made for the indoors or like for
no, it's an indoor tent.
Okay, yeah. Like
this thing wouldn't hold up to the elements. But it's like it goes up like a tent. It's a pop-up tent. It's got
I got
holes
you.
and
I
everything.
have one of those. Absolutely. Bring some toys in there.
Yeah.
A couple stuffed animals.
It's legit. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. We got good good times. I'll ask you a thing. What was your we'll do a little Christmas talk here while we filibuster and wait for the guys. Actually, we're gonna get to Christmas presents in a little bit. Yeah, we do have to quickly tell everybody at home about game time. right now. And if I just find it, there it is. Look at Jackson all over. And I got to say, hats off to Jackson Tolliver and Amit, both working on Christmas here. And Jimmy, you and I have worked many holidays, in the past in this business. It just is a thing that you do, but it's always appreciated in the effort. And obviously Bobby and Noah are down there and all the, Celtics reporters. And it's not awesome. But it is what it is. And you're a good team. You play on these big stages, and everyone's got to show up. It would have been nice if the Celtics did as well. As far as game time goes, awesome. Again, 2 Pats games left. You want to go catch your boy Drake? Now is the best time to do it. Hold on 1 second, guys. I've got some screaming.
Now's the best time to do it. Download the Game Time
Yeah.
app.
Download that Game Time app. You got to do it. And I love it. I love the all-in pricing. I love the seat view, the panoramic view. Chargers game, you can get into that bowl, into the lower bowl for a little over 100 all in right now. Or the last I looked. It's definitely worth it. So
Patriots,
definitely
Chargers.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be fun. Like, still got the holidays going on. Get some friends together, get down there.
Yeah, so check it out if you want to go. You know the drill by now, but if you haven't signed up, you should. You know what I love? On top of this, like, it's a sponsor on our show, and it's great. I had someone say to me the other day, he's like, you know what I've been using a lot? We were talking about going to a concert, and he's like, you know what I've been using? He's like, this app called Game Time? I was like, do I know Game Time?
I am Game Time.
I was like, dude. CLNS, plug it in, make it happen. And he got it. So that's what you have to do. You download the app, use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Once again, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Definitely worth it, whether it's a game, whether it's a concert, whatever you want to get into. Tickets are tough to come by. This is the best way to go about it. Yeah. The best way to go about it.
Things around a little bit. Maybe go to a Bees game.
Yeah.
Use that $20 on.
Yeah, I'm out right now on the Bees. I am. We're gonna pivot back to Christmas, and I'll ask you here, Jimmy. And again, while we wait to see if Bobby and Noah are coming on, what's the best present you got? What's the best present you gave?
Wow, right on the spot. Best present I got. I had said this in the last show. So a lot of people know I do some part-time musicianing, sing and play guitar. I got a little pedal board I have a couple pedals that go with my guitar, like a loop pedal, like a distortion type.
Little wah-wah.
Yeah. And the pedal board allows you to attach them, like kind of daisy chain them together and attach them to a board so that you don't have to like set up specific pedals.
One pedal.
Yeah. You can kind of bring them all attached. So I got that, which is something that I asked for.
Nice.
Other than that, a little custom odds and ends stuff. It was more about who's around the tree than what's under the tree, John. The people you spend it with. We exchange gifts. I got some socks. Me and Bobby were talking about socks last show. I did get some socks. I got some Jordan socks, like Jordan brand socks. Good quality. Neutral colors, nothing too crazy, but get the job done. Socks aren't gonna like make or break Christmas, but you kind of need them, A little bit of some workout gear, like shorts, things like that, gym type gear, stuff like that. I gave the best gifts I gave. I got my mom an iPad.
Very nice.
Can't really beat everyone. Needs
Old people love iPads.
iPads are great. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like you don't want to be walking around with a clunky laptop. Sometimes the phone is too small, whatever. You want to watch something, boom, iPad done. So,
yep.
The iPad.
Love that.
Yep.
Love it.
And that was Christmas.
That was Christmas. That's not bad.
Some other stuff. What'd you get? Did you get anything?
Some stuff. I got a cleaver.
Not even sure what that is.
Like a big meat cleaver.
Oh yeah.
I get the same stuff. I get like
shirts.
I get kitchen enhancements or whiskey. Like
I got a couple.
It's the same thing all the time. I get food related things or booze related things. It's almost it.
Somebody asked any towels in my stockings.
It's friggin'
No,
Bobby.
I got
Yep, and he's
plenty
got some
there.
paper towels. Bobby, what's the best Christmas present you got this year?
Oh, there's some good stuff. Blender's great. Socks. I was hyping up the socks to Jimmy. I didn't get as
Yep.
many as I thought,
Okay.
but they were still good nonetheless. Nothing crazy. Trying to think of some other stuff. Yeah, mostly clothes.
Bobby, where's the Santa hat that you said you were going to be wearing it to the game?
He's
today?
frozen. Clearly frozen.
I thought he
He's
was
not-
just really thinking.
There he is. Yeah, he was. He's like, what was that thing I got?
He's frozen again. Damn it, Bobby.
He's so frozen.
I'm trying to think of like something. I got a yoga mat, John.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm getting really big into yoga. And so I got a yoga mat that's designed for heated yoga. So it's like good grip because hot yoga gets very sweaty and it can get slippery. So you don't want like a big, soft, slippery yoga mat. You want something with a little grip to it. So I got a yoga mat. I will be crushing core power yoga in 2025.
Love it. Good. All right, Bobby, quick takeaways here on the game. We're just kind of bullshitting here with the Christmas stuff. Are you worried? Have you hit it? Are you there? Are you there?
Fix your Wi-Fi. We should get Joe Sway on. It's going to be like this.
I don't get it.
Bobby is. I'll speak for Bobby. I already know Bobby's worried. He's been.
Bobby is worried. He is, and he's looking around the room. Other reporters wondering if people are there too, and they're not yet. But Bobby is. I think we're gonna try it again. Nope.
Bobby definitely is. He's very critical of the way that they're playing defense, obviously. And Noah had mentioned it last show. The lack of ball movement is a real indicator, and the lack of assists, the lack of when Hauser's playing, his lack of shots is an indicator of how poor their offense is running right now. Bobby, can you
Jimmy,
actually
before you blink out again?
Yeah, I got you.
How worried are you,
Bobby?
Yeah, I'm concerned right now, and I did not like the game on Monday at all. I haven't liked the way this team's played for a week or two now. And tonight, another letdown. The energy, the effort, the focus, not there out of the jump. You go down 14 in the first half, and then some similar second half lapses put you behind by 15. I don't know what was up with Jalen early in this game. And then into the second half, everybody's making mistakes. This wasn't an offensive game. I just heard you talking about that, Jimmy. I feel like the offense was pretty fine, especially producing 23s. But this defense, and this is why I asked you earlier, John, I don't think I got an answer. Does this season feel similar to 2023 or 2024? And it's not 2023, but it is veering in that direction fast here. And some of it's injuries and bumps and bruises. But a big part of it, and I know you guys probably listen to Joe off the top, but the defense, the numbers look good. And again, we had that conversation that whole year. And I know he kept pushing back on it, that the defense was fine. We're second in the league, blah, blah, blah. But that lapse at the end there, when you're coming back, when you've got all this momentum behind you, there's one on the shot clock, and you just let Maxey go to the rim. And I was just talking to him about that. He said, yeah, I saw that wide open lane there and just took it. Unacceptable. I mean, how long are we going to let this team off the hook here? Like, it's not just malaise and boredom and whatever you want to say it is to excuse it. They're not playing well right now. They're not playing good defense. They're relying on the three to save them. It's just not a good effort from this team collectively right now.
Yeah, I think it goes back closer to a month. And I think it's like, as we said, there's enough each game that they show you and you're like, nah, I see they're there. That's the team. I know, I recognize those guys. There they are. And then there's just periods where they're not. So it's just, they are consistently inconsistent. And that's what's kind of maddening is it's why in comments, you'll see people be like, what are you talking about? This guy was good. Yeah, he was. There were stretches he was good. There was also stretches he literally looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on the floor or totally not focused. And it's just not as connected as it was last year. There's just more lapses. The worst part is you're getting it from guys you don't expect it as much from, where like Tatum and Brown, they got the superstar up and downs. They get those from time to time where superstars just kind of get into their, thing where I'll give it this much tonight. But you're getting sometimes from Derek White. You've seen, some holiday games that you haven't loved nearly as much. And I
Tatum's
guess
up there, John. If you want to go,
yeah, we'll hear from Tatum and his funny hat, and then we'll get back to it.
Last few games, and it's on all of us individually. We gotta be better, and then it translates to us being better as a unit on defense. It's just as simple as we just gotta be better.
Has your shooting, which has been generally pretty good throughout the course of the season, is that kind of allowed you guys to lean on the offense and maybe not address some of these defensive habits?
It shouldn't. We've always hung our hat on being a really, really good defensive team that takes pride on that end of the ball, and we got to get back to that.
Jason, you played 42 minutes today despite the illness. How did you feel physically throughout this game? And can you take us through what happened before last game when you're the last minute scratch there? Did you seem like Joe said you tried to warm up and just didn't feel like you had it?
Yeah, it was just a little virus, 24-hour, 48-hour bug. I felt fine the entire day, fine during warm-ups, and then it just hit me, during our meeting right before the game. And let's just say I lost a lot of fluids over the last 2 days, so maybe
We didn't need to know that.
fatigue, I guess, from being sick the last few days, but
There's definitely a little stomach thingy going around.
Just trying to push through it and catch my second win, things like that.
Jason, how do you get the team get that fortitude back? It seemed like Maxi's cooking, and then Martin's hitting threes. Teams are kind of gashing you, and maybe getting out hustling you for certain balls, and then there's this kind of the issues with the turnovers at times. How do you kind of collectively get that swagger back? And it seems like you lost it a little bit this month.
Yeah, I think we got to take some ownership. We got to be better. We got to acknowledge the things that we've done not so great. We got to look in the mirror and man up, and we just got to be better. We fully believe in ourselves, the things that we can do when we're fully locked in, and we've done it time and time again. We just had some lapses recently. We just got to get back on track.
Are you sensing, you didn't play the other night in Orlando, but they played a bunch of young guys, and they came at you, and then Philadelphia's 10-17, and they still came. Teams are coming at you expectantly, but they don't seem to fear you. Are you seeing that teams are just, I don't know, getting up, but just coming at you? They're playing their best. Are you sensing something different this year?
No, I feel like been in 3 straight conference finals, 2 finals.
I think that's all I can take. That's fine. No, there's nothing there. Yeah, they got to play better. They know it. He acknowledges it. No, it's fine. I'm not diminishing it, but yeah. So Bobby, to answer your question, yeah, it feels a little bit more like the flip the switch team than the the most impressive thing about last year's Celtics was that they never let it get to them. They never got into bad stretches. It just didn't happen. They're in a little. They're not getting into a lot of them now, but they're in a sustained funk, and they've lost 3 or 4, and so that's definitely not great here against inferior opponents. So I think it's more on the we know it's there when we want to. Low key, a comment from a couple days ago from Porzingis, which I liked a lot. Hold on one second. Hang on a split second, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say before you jumped in there, Jimmy, you got this stretch earlier in the year where they lose to Atlanta. There's that bad overtime game against Brooklyn. They've gone through this already this season, right? And they corrected it pretty fast, and they got back to being themselves for a decent amount of time there. But I think this marks 2 stretches pretty early in the season here where they just expect it's going to be easy. And I don't know if the 3-point shooting contributes to that, John, that when they're zooming from 3 and they're hitting
that's
all
part
those,
of it is you get used to it, you get addicted to it, you just assume they're going to fall. And Joe preaches that. Just keep shooting it and wait for it. And they just think if we just do that, it'll work. And the math has worked in their favor. The math is right now the enemy of effort, because it's like, if we follow the system and the script and we just do this thing, eventually we're just going to outmath this team to win this game. And it's just not happening consistently enough, where it's not enough to save you if you're having massive defensive lapses, like they did throughout the game here, and just falling asleep. You can't not do the other things too. It's not that just they've become reliant on threes as their offense. They've become reliant on threes as the thing that's going to save them from shitty performances too. And that's not great. So it's definitely, like I said, closer to what you said a couple of years ago, where there's more of like, and this is what I was getting to. Porzingis said it low key last time, and it bothered me a little bit. He said, this is the type of team that can do this type of stuff in the regular season. This, he used the word regular season to kind of almost like low key disparage Orlando for what they were doing, for the performance. Like, that was a good regular season win, meaning like they're not going to be there with us, and this isn't the type of thing you would see from us in April. It wasn't quite Tristan Thompson levels of flipping the switch.
Yeah, because that was a bad Celtics team.
Yeah, that was a bad team, but it was like hats off to those guys. They busted their asses. To them, this mattered. To us, it didn't. Sort of vibe. Oh, we'll learn from this. It's good to see it. Good pat on the butt. Nice job, sport. It's like,
no, that's your competitor in the East. You're probably going to see them in the
competitor, and they
right.
and now it's the fear factor. And Gary was kind of getting around that question to Tatum. Like, you think teams fear you less? Yeah, maybe.
Well, I think the fact is, and I've hated this before, John, is they're getting every team's best shot. Like, teams are coming in and saying, let's knock off the champs here. Even bad teams, like, there's an opportunity for us to do something here, Jimmy. And I think you saw that in some of those Brooklyn, Atlanta type games early on the schedule. But it's similar with Orlando. And I know you weren't here, John. I hated that game. And I know Joe said earlier tonight that he liked the defense in that game and how it saved them. But even in that one, that Orlando offense is so bad. I know they held them to 108 in that game, but through all the missed threes and everything else that they went through in that game, being forced to take tough twos, you could have just strangled their offense and won a defensive rock fight and gotten out of there with a close win. And they just had too many lapses in that game as well, like the Cole Anthony play where he's dribbling all around the world, and a million others that you can point to from that game. So I don't care what their defensive rating is. I don't care what the analytics say, or what the final numbers are coming out of these games. You see it in the individual lapses in big moments, in big spots, where one play could cost you the game. And I really do think that Maxey play cost them a comeback win here. Like, you have them there. 1 second on the shot clock. He hits it with 0.2 on the clock. You have a stop there, and it could be a whole different game. So this has to be a defensive team. I say it all the time. Last year, they figured out a way to come together and play with maximum effort on that end and intensity. And again, it's really the attention to detail. What are you doing on Martin in this game?
Nothing.
Like,
John,
Joe made it sound like it was like, well, we were rotating over, and trying to help on players.
Enough with edging off guys when they start catching fire.
You just fell asleep, and I wasn't on the Orlando game, but that, I'm sure you talked about it. That dagger three was Jalen hedging off of a guy for no freaking reason at all, a la the Harden Philly, Philly playoff
and everyone's
game
blaming Al for taking that shot.
No, Jesus, that was like ridiculous. Just stay home. What are you doing? But in this case, it wasn't. There was like, I pointed to one particular play where White didn't rotate over, didn't pick up on a switch.
Pointed his finger.
Goes down to the basket and points to Kata to rush out there. And then Joe calls a timeout, and you could tell Joe barked right at him like, that's your guy. And White looked exasperated. But it's like, there was a lot of that. There was just a lot of
How much do you feel like it's them not being the same shooting team, John, and misses are hurting guys' effort?
So much. But I mean, the thing is, like, what's funny is they're losing because of threes, but they're winning because of threes. Like, that margin is the reason that they're winning. So even though their percentage is down, the fact that they're still leading the league in makes and attempts is a big deal. So the system is right, but one, they're too reliant on it, and that can kind of stunt other offensive things that you're trying to do if all you're trying to do is jack them up. And yeah, when they're not falling, you're almost just waiting for them to fall rather than, it's a cliche, but like, you win it. you start your offense by playing defense first. And like we've seen this team
And they take the
say it.
opposite approach.
Yeah, and we've seen them operate, and I don't think they think that. They say it, but I don't think they think it. I think they think, now we just got to do our thing, and when they start to just get the good looks, get the good looks.
I think Joe highlights that often. You set your defense with what you do on offense, but sometimes I feel like it is the opposite. You got to just clamp down. You got to just pile up the stops, and sometimes win some rock fights where you don't play at your best offensively.
And they do sometimes.
That's what hurt them in 2023. Yeah, and they did that year at times, and they did it last year much more often, but I haven't seen it enough to begin this year. And now Porzingis and Fox with the health again. Are you back to having those rim protection issues if he can't go in certain games? Like that's something that's actually steadied them to a great degree on the defensive end since he got back.
You got to play D. Out of respect to everybody at home who has families and other things to do, and to Jimmy, we promised a short show, and he's still got family, and he's got to get back to it. And I've got mine waiting for me here to play with all these wonderful toys.
Your kids are not going to wait much longer.
Yeah, they're freaking out to play with all these wonderful toys we got for them. I got to get moving too. So we do have to wrap up this show. We did want to give it a good hour, and we do thank you guys for joining us.
Noah and I are going to do something tomorrow, so we'll have more conversation about the game.
More conversation about this game, much more on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, follow Bobby Manning, follow Noah, follow all of us. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry
Happy
Christmas, guys.
Happy holidays.
Hanukkah.
Yes, we do thank you. We do appreciate you guys joining us, and we will see more of you because there's several more shows before this year is out. We'll be back in a couple of days, and as Bobby said, he and Noah might chop it up and talk a little bit more basketball tomorrow and dig down on what's actually ailing the Celtics. Until then, have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way. Let's
Yeah.
fight out over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke